Just be happy with who you are. Just be happy with who you are. Just be happy with who you are.
Hi, and now we're going to look at the theoretical perspectives of addictive disorder, Part 2. There are many reasons why we try to regularly use drugs and or alcohol, from feeling growing up, to needing to relax, or managing stress, or to rebel. No matter, as there are many different entry points. We are going to review several of the major theoretical perspectives on substance use disorder, and we'll start with the biological. Biological perspectives focus on uncovering the biological pathways that may explain the mechanisms of physiological dependence. These perspectives focus on the role of the neurotransmitters and genetic factors in the vulnerability to dependence. First, the neurotransmitter roles. The pathways to the brain involving the neurotransmitter dopamine may explain the pleasure-induced effects of many drugs: nicotine, alcohol, cocaine, heroin, even marijuana. By increasing levels of the neurotransmitter dopamine is the brain's reward and reinforcement agent. Secondly, genetics. There appears to be genetic factors that run in families, and twin studies suggest a link more for men. Much work is still emerging, and there appears to be strong environment factors associated with the genetic predispositions. From the learning perspective, learning theorists view substance abuse disorder as a learned pattern of behavior and can, in principle, be unlearned. These focus on the role of operant in classical conditioning and observational learning. Substance use problems are regarded not as symptoms of disease, but rather problems of habits. With operant conditioning, we will perform for the reinforcement, drugs. People may be reinforced by the effects of the drug to reduce stress and depression. Alcohol and tension reduction. When we drink to relieve tension, and the more we do this, the more we drink. That's habit forming. Negative reinforcement withdrawal. If you stop cold turkey, you may start again to avoid the withdrawal symptoms. And so that might be another condition. Conditioned model. We could be conditioned to crave the drug and alcohol through associations, that things like seeing a bar creates a craving. You go in and have a drink. See your drug friends prompts a craving. And then there's observational learning. There's a strong link with families with adult drinkers as parental models. So now we'll move into the cognitive perspective, and of course this is about faulty thinking. So the cognitive perspective emphasizes the roles of attitudes, beliefs, and expectations in accounting for substance use and abuse. When we have positive expectancies of alcohol and other substances to reduce tension or to be better accepted or liked by others, for example, there tends to be a predictor of abuse. So if you start drinking or go to parties because there are things will be there and you'll be seen in a better light, that's part of what that point is about. Self-efficacy, or the belief in your ability to accomplish tasks, the perception that alcohol or other substances will in some manner improve our ability to do and accomplish things, will increase the likelihood to use and potentially abuse. Now, research suggests that one drink effect may be self-fulfilling prophecy. That is, if you think you can that the outcome will be good, you are more likely to use in larger quantities. Now, the psychodynamic perspective. These theorists view the problem of substance abuse, such as excessive drinking and habitual smoking, as signs of oral fixations. With a mixed research support, the empirical connection between dependence and alcoholism does not establish that alcoholism represents an oral fixation that can be traced to early development. Now, that's always been somewhat of one of the major complaints of psychoanalytic based on Ford's theories, is the empirical data doesn't exist. Now, the sociocultural perspective. They lay the importance on the adoption of culturally sanctioned prohibition against excessive drinking and explaining the differences between various ethnic and religious groups and rates of alcoholism. The social factor, such as peer pressure or the influence the development of a substance abuse. So if we're going to tie all this together, substance use disorder are complex patterns of behavior that involve an interplay of biological, psychological, and environmental factors. Genetic predisposition may interact with environmental factors that increase the potential for drug abuse and dependence. Cognitive factors, especially positive drug expectations, may also raise the potential for alcohol and drug problems. The sociocultural factors include factors such as availability of alcohol and other drugs and the presence or the absence of cultural constraints. The learning theorists attribute addiction to positive and negative reinforcement arising from the effects of drugs. So substance abuse disorder should be approached considering this complex interplay of all factors. So that ends part 2, looking at the theoretical perspectives. What we'll move to in the last video in this week will be the treatments, and that will be part 3. So we'll see you in part 3.